Right. All right. Welcome in, guys. It's Real Talk with Russ and Vince here. Vince, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right, man. Highly blessed, highly favored. How you doing?
Doing good. So let's start it off with the Lakers and Pelicans. How do you think it went?
Well, honestly, kind of a weird game. Like after losing to the Warriors the other day, I mean, I know it's a
Hmm.
back to back, but it was still the Pelicans. So I kind of hope that they would have like a little bit of a better like um respond game, I guess I would say. But you could kind of see clearly early on, like in the first quarter, they still had a little bit of rust from that Warriors game and they didn't really show up. I know, like, we talk a lot about them having like a good 48 minutes of solid basketball, and maybe that's just too much to ask in April when there's like 7 games left and you're playing against the Pelicans, who have literally no starters, like regular starters in. You're playing a bunch of, like second and third string players. I guess like as a Laker fan, I hope to see a little bit more attention to detail from the beginning, but for us to still win the way that we did towards the end at least, I can't be mad at it. Obviously our big three definitely showed out, or at
Yeah.
least showed up for the most part. All of them had at least 25 plus points, and I thought this was a game that you know Luca kind of really needed to bounce back from the poor showing that he had the previous game against the Warriors. I think he finished the night with what 35 points or something like that. I want to say.
Yeah. I mean, definitely a bounce back game for sure. Um, I hope it's not just the pressure in LA, um, but definitely a better game for sure. But Jose Alvarado though scored what? I think he scored like 18 points in the first like I want to say 8 to 10 minutes in the game. That was like, oh man, we're not gonna have Jose Alvarado get us right now, is he? So, but let's go here. Before we really get into this game, how you feeling about last night's loss? Still,
I mean, kind of like this game, to be honest with you, man. Like, I don't really know how to feel about it. Obviously, in the moment, like emotions high, you're obviously upset because, like, the part of you that's a Laker fan, you're kind of just like, dang, like, yeah, we won the last 3 matchups, but that was obviously without Jimmy Butler and that was obviously without Luca.
mm-hmm.
So for us to lose that matchup, I kind of was like, dang, like this is not the time to be losing games, right? Because the standings are so neck and neck between 2 and 8. But at the same time, like after a day thinking it over, to be honest with you, I'm not really that mad. Just simply because not every game you're gonna get a Brandon game where he's going 8 for 10 from three and scoring
Yeah,
25 plus points. I mean, he's been on a heater this last like couple of games. To be honest with you, I'm pretty sure today Brandon even beat. Well, not beat, but Brandon also had a good game against the Nuggets. Um, but that didn't happen like earlier in the game. It happened more towards like the later second half of the game. So, I mean, and on top of that, Luca didn't have a good showing, obviously, and our bench, we've talked about it before, both on the camera and off the camera. I don't know what to
mm-hmm.
make of our bench at this point. It's like one moment our bench shows up and shows out, and the next
Yeah,
moment they're just a mystery. And I don't really like that, just from the simple standpoint that your bench needs to be a lot better going into the playoffs. Sometimes a bench can win a team games, which are very important in a series. And if our bench can't show up, we're in deep trouble.
yeah. The bench. I mean Jackson Hayes. I mean, what did you think about him tonight?
Um, I mean, I thought he had obviously a much better game today, but it wasn't necessarily offensively. I thought that his effort defensively was a lot more present than the Warriors game. For example, if you look at the box sheet, I'm pretty sure he finished with at least like 12 rebounds. And that's kind of in some ways pathetic to say for a center, but he hasn't really
Mhm.
been having double-digit rebounding games for quite a while because LeBron has been getting the boards, Luka's been getting the boards, Rui stepped up and getting boards, Vando, DFS. So literally other players have been stepping up and getting the boards, but this was a game that, Jackson actually showed up, helping us get those rebounds and then also playing really good defense on the other end as well.
Yeah, let's look over the stats here because we can really take a good look at it. So we have here the stats for the game. And pull it up here. Box score. So we got LeBron with 27 points. We got DFS with 5 points. Jackson Hayes with 6 points. Luka Doncic with 35 points. Austin Reeves 30 points. And then Jared Vanderbilt, the Vandalorian, 2 points. Although plus 11, better than the last game. He do you think Vando was in the doghouse last game?
What do you mean?
Just because it kind of felt like JJ Redick didn't want to put him in the end. Do you think it was just because of matchup, or just because he wasn't playing well? Because I mean, what I've been hearing around the league is that people aren't as high on Vando as much as the Lakers are, and I mean, just kind of what do you think about that?
To be honest with you, I can't say it's the matchup because I've seen plenty of times where Vando was actually one of our difference makers against the Warriors, especially when guarding Steph.
Hmm.
Granted, we had eight. Oh, beg my pardon. We had AD. One of the best rim protectors in the league there to kind of help. And
Yeah,
clearly, us not having any good rim protection this season, now that we traded for Luka, has clearly hurt us.
yeah,
The amount of blow-bys that I see happen is kind of been tough to watch. But
deflating.
I think Vando's fine, man. I think Vando is, you know, unfortunately, like we talked about, man, he's kind of like the opposite of Dalton Connect. Dalton Connect is all offense, no defense. Vando is
Mhm,
all defense, no offense. And we kind of saw that again in this game. Like, pretty sure he had a time or a moment where he was right at the rim and just
mhm,
blew a layup.
mhm.
And to me, it's just like you got to be stronger than that. You got to be a little bit more poise in those moments around the rim. And it just seems like he kind of is like a lost puppy a lot of the times when he's like the ball's in his hands and he has to go make a play. If it's
Mhm.
not done a certain way, you can't always rely on him to just score the way that you would expect him to score. So, I
Yeah, for
mean,
sure.
definitely a much better bounce back game this game. But I mean, like we can see in the stat sheet, he only had 2 points, 3 rebounds. The things that I'm really paying attention from, players like Jared Vanderbilt, even from Gabe Vincent at this point, and even Josh Goodwin, is the defensive stats. And for Vando to have no steals, no blocks, just 3 rebounds, and then as you can see, Gabe had what, one steal, two, like what, 5 points. Yeah, there we go. Um, Goodwin, I thought Goodwin had some good moments, but you could also tell other moments he just didn't really know what to do. I think there was like a fast
Yeah,
break. There was like
yeah,
a fast break that he was running, and
yeah,
instead of going to throw a layup, he tried to throw a lob, and
yeah,
it got deflected. And I was just sitting here like,
yeah.
what am I watching right now?
Hey, yeah, hey, really
So
quickly, I just
yeah,
wanted to shout out to our fans and supporters here. I see Mario join the chat. I see you commenting in there. Appreciate you. And so it was your friend, right? Is that the one who you were inviting?
yeah, no, there's a couple of people I know. Appreciate your support,
Appreciate
checking
you guys.
the channel out.
We
Definitely.
decided to do something different today. We upped our game. I mean, from video one to now. I mean, shoot, wait till you see tomorrow's video.
Yeah, it's gonna be a work in progress. Obviously, this is new. So
Yeah, no, sorry. I just looked at the page and I was like, whoa, Dalton Connect with 12 points. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, bro. I don't care. What did you see from Dalton Connect? Did you see the lack of defense more, or was it the offense that popped out to you?
I mean, obviously the offense popped out in the
Yeah.
first half. The second half, I don't think he scored at all, which is the
Yeah.
reason why his minutes went down. But
Hmm.
the thing I'm trying to understand is you see the lineup that we have in terms of like a roster. Like the roster we're seeing on the stat sheet is basically the roster we're going to be taking to the playoffs. So everybody that played today, with the exception of Maxi Kleber, who hopefully is coming
Hmm.
back, in the next week, is
Yeah.
going to be in the playoffs essentially for the most part.
Hmm.
There's not really like when I'm looking at again our lineup, I see a lot of great offensive talent, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of consistent great rim protection. I'm not seeing a lot of good defensive talent for the most part that's consistent.
Hmm.
Some games, like I said, Jared Vanderbilt will show up and he'll really show out. Other games he's not. Same thing with, Dorian Finney-Smith, same thing with Gabe Vincent, same thing with Jordan Goodwin. One
Hmm.
other thing that I want to point out that obviously we have to take in consideration, especially for this game, is Rui didn't play. This was a back-to-back game, and Rui is still coming from
Oh,
injury. Yeah.
dude, I
So
that's crazy. I didn't even notice that because the thing is I was doing a lot of cleaning the house because it was a must. So I was watching the game, but I honestly wasn't really seeing as much of like who was in or who was out. That is such a good point. Rui wasn't playing. I was
yeah.
wondering. I was like, something feels different tonight, but I mean, our
You didn't
big
notice
three.
when Dorian Finney-Smith was starting instead of Rui?
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude, if I told you what I did the last couple of days, including today, you would have thought, how are you even awake right now? Um,
No, I
but
feel
anyways, yeah, no, I feel you though. I mean, that's true. I knew we were missing something though. I just felt it. Rui's offense for sure. Because I mean, think about it. We still beat them handily, and honestly, I don't feel like they really tried as hard as they could have. But I mean, shoot, LeBron, Luka, and Reeves both almost with all 30 points. I mean, we're LeBron 3 points away from all three of them having 30 points, which I'm starting to wonder, has that ever happened?
what?
Has three players scored 30 points in the same game?
I would imagine it's happened. It doesn't happen
Really?
often, but I'd have to think maybe at some point like Kyrie, Katie, James Harden maybe have done it.
I don't know, man.
I
That's something to
think
look up. That's
no, that's
yeah,
not for real. Yeah.
something to think about. Um, I mean, what was it like just a couple of games ago against the Rockets, or I believe it was our big three. It was the first trio to score 25, 5, and 5.
Yeah. Yep.
Which to me that seems crazy to me. Like that's the first time. But anyways, I mean, who knows, man? If Rui was in here, maybe he would have had 20
Well,
and
that just goes to show, like, again, we have the offensive talent to really be the best. It's
yeah.
the defensive end that's going to really determine where this year's Lakers team goes. Because
Hmm.
once we got Luka and we gave up the defense that we had been building upon with AD and with Max Christie gone, it put a really big hole on this team. And, I want to be realistic when it comes to
Hmm.
this year's Lakers team versus what I think the Lakers are going to be doing in the future to fill in the rest of the roster.
Yeah.
But this year's Lakers team, if we're being really honest, there really is no actual expectations to win a championship. If we somehow won a championship this year, like
Hmm.
that would actually I think would be shocking a lot of people because there's so much talented teams this year that are more full complete in terms of their roster. They have better deeper depth in terms of their bench. Their
Hmm.
starters are a lot more cohesive with each other and complement each other than
Yeah.
ours. We're still figuring things out. I think JJ, literally just had an interview the other day, if not today, where he literally just talked about how we're still in the process of building that team chemistry. And
Yeah.
you can see moments of that when they're going one on one on the court instead of getting ball
Hmm.
movement like we talk about. This team is a lot better when the ball is moving around and people are not just standing around watching Austin Reeves go one on one, LeBron go one on one, Luka go one on one. When we have players cutting and we have players screening and we have players communicating on the defensive end, when we have players actually playing as a unit instead of just having these like weird moments
Hmm.
where they'll do it here and there, but then they'll have moments where they just shut down. Like they're not talking, they get blow
Hmm.
bys. And it usually happens. when the other team maybe like low-key commits a foul, but they don't get the whistle, they keep their head down, and instead of just going straight back, now you're giving them an advantage. Now you're looking at a 5-on-4 situation, basically a
Mhm.
fast break, not
Yeah.
something that we want to be giving up, and it's a momentum killer. So
Mhm.
there's definitely things that I saw in this game that kind of made me a little bit nervous. I mean, again, when we look at the stat sheet, dude, there's not really much to go off of for the bench. The bench is really
Mhm.
the thing that I'm questioning right now because outside of that, uh, the Rockets game where Gabe went for 20 and then Dorian went for 20.
Mhm.
Show me another game or at least a sequence of games consistently where they've shown up and showed out consistently. If it's not on
Yeah.
the offensive end, it has to be on the defensive end. It's not
Yeah.
that often. And right now, outside of our big three with Luka,
Mhm.
Austin, and Reeves, there's not really much reliability and consistency with the rest of the roster. And I'm not really liking that.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Uh, tonight we had the Pelicans had Reeves too. Antonio Reeves.
Bro, their last names are spelled different.
I
I
know, I
can't
know.
tell you how dyslexic I am because when I saw this, I saw his name on previous matchups with the Pelicans against another team. I
Yeah.
was like, "There's another Reeves in the league," and I
Is his
clicked on
brother?
it, and I was like, "There's no way this guy is Austin's brother." If you see
Right.
what he looks like, but then looking at the stat sheet, I'm like, "Oh, okay. One Reeves is REE, the other one is REA." So yeah,
Yeah. Um, what's really surprising to me about the Pelicans box scores is, I mean, Bruce Brown's on the team. Bruce Brown was a difference maker on the Nuggets, and I mean, hey, one game isn't gonna decide, a player's, overall impact over the course of the season. I don't think he scores 1 point every game or averages that, but Bruce Brown 1 point kind of surprising.
you know,
26 minutes.
yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm surprised. I'm a little bit surprised only because he's not a scrub. I mean, he was on a championship team
Hmm.
and
He was the
he
difference
was
maker on the
very important
Nuggets.
on that championship team for the Denver
Mhm.
Nuggets. But, when you play for a team that is clearly trying to tank at this point to get a high lottery draft pick,
Mhm.
it's something about that culture. Like when you're on a winning culture, it infects everybody in a positive way,
Yeah.
and some people play out of body. Like
Mhm.
look at Brandon. Brandon has not been playing that good all season. You insert somebody like Jimmy Butler for the Warriors, and they start going on a win streak. You got the confidence from Jimmy, from Draymond, from
Right.
Steph. Easily, that culture of winning is gonna up your level of play a little bit better. Now
Yeah.
let's take that to the opposite. Now you're playing on a team that literally just chose to just take all their starters away. Zion's gone, McCollum's gone, Trey Murphy's gone. Um, Basically, all of their important pieces are either injured or they're sitting out. It's kind of hard to get up for a game that really the organization is sending a message to the team to
Yeah.
probably tank. So I don't want to think too much on that one, but
Yeah.
I will say I'm not happy that the Lakers didn't pick Bruce Brown up because I felt like we kind of picked up a Bruce Brown 2.0 and
Yeah.
you know um, his name is escaping me, but um, Goodwin. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, tip of my
Jordan
head.
Goodwin. Jordan
Yeah,
Goodwin.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jordan Goodwin.
Hey, quick quick little fun fact. There's a guy on the Pelicans. I'm sure you could kind of guess by looking at the stat, but um, there's a guy who's a rookie who just passed AD as for the most double-digit rebounds for a rookie in the Pelicans.
No way,
Yves Missy.
Misi? Really?
Yeah, sorry if I butcher your name, man. But yeah, that man, something or nothing. I don't know.
How
Nothing
many games?
really.
Wait, how many games did 80 play? Do you know how many games 80 played compared to how many games he played? Because that might have something to do with it. Because AD
Yeah.
didn't really play a lot of games early on in his career.
Well, his rookie year though.
Yeah, his rookie year. I mean,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean
know that.
something. I mean, I think he just passed him by one game, and there's still a few games left, but not like it's something crazy. But anyways, so before this game, how likely do we fall into the play-in in your head before this game happened? Like, was it something on your mind? Something or nothing?
You mean in terms of like the Lakers possibly falling down to the play-in standing?
Yeah, because I mean, I think what if you
You want to
lose?
pull up the standings real quick
Yeah. So
so we can get an update?
yeah, let me update this and
Because I
see.
think you'll be interested to see how the standings are right now
Oh
with
yeah,
all the
I'm
things that happened today.
well. Thank God we won tonight because if
Yeah.
we'd have lost, that would have put us in the same, record as the Warriors with 46 and 31, which
Yep.
is brutal. It just honestly, the Western Conference should not even have a plan. Like,
It
bro,
really.
think about it. Why is 9 and 10 get a chance when it's an 8-game difference? It's an
That's
8-game
that.
difference.
That's definitely something the league, honestly, I would hope would think about at some point because the West and the East are so different, man. Like it's so top heavy in the East compared to the West. The West, there's
Mhm.
legit like if you really talk about okay, this team and their roster is going to be healthy, right? If we're talking about this team is going to be healthy, you look at any teams on the West from 1 to 15, you could easily say just about every single one have a chance to at least make the plan. The only reason why they didn't is because it just wasn't their year, injuries occurred, or shoot, you're the Suns. I mean, that's really all you can do. You know what I'm saying? But outside of
Oh,
that, every single team in the
cold.
West has a case to make it to the playoffs
That's cold.
compared to the East, it's just kind of like, what are we doing? You know?
Yeah. I don't know who I just saw a video of. I feel bad, but I feel like it's another. Who's the one doing those videos with that blonde YouTuber? I want to say Michael Beasley. I want to say, is that his name, Michael Beasley, who was on our team?
Michael B. Oh, I know. I know who you're talking about. Mike
Yeah,
Beasley.
yeah,
Or
yeah. Did you see that video of how like here? I don't know
he plays
exactly.
for Detroit, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. He
Mm-hmm.
he does these podcasts with this like blonde dude. It's like
I,
blonde
I
hair
didn't
and
even know he had a podcast.
I don't know if it's his podcast or not, but I'm assuming so since they always see him on it. But the blonde dude who's like I don't know what his role is, maybe just the question asker or whatever. But he pulls up a picture of the the Suns and like say one word about what the picture you see, and he pulls it up and he says, you know, I don't know if I can say words like this, but I'm gonna uh, he pulled up a picture of the Suns, and Michael Beasley was like, "Ass."
I mean, hey, I'm
Uh,
pretty sure that I think the Suns just lost to the Celtics today too. It's just not their season.
yeah,
Like they have no chance of making the play in, which is
right.
crazy
Well,
because
yeah,
with all the injuries that occurred to the Mavericks, you would think, okay, the Suns have at least a chance. And then with the Kings, man, dude, like at one point the Kings were going up in the standings. You would think, okay, like they might finish 7 or 8. Bro,
well,
they have
yeah,
been such a disappointment with that
yeah.
Zach LaVine trade. I
Well,
thought that the
yeah,
Zach LaVine trade would at least help him get a little bit better, but nothing changed, man.
right,
Nothing.
and yeah, that's the thing is Fox left, and I just feel like Fox was definitely. I think Fox is a difference maker, but not on that team. I just don't know what it was working out. Shout out to Gonzaga legend Domantas Sabonis though, um, from Spokane.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't know, man. Like the Kings saw the Bulls, which are also go funny. I think they're also in
they're in the
10th
10th spot.
East.
Yeah.
But the Kings saw Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan didn't work at all, and they're like, you know what? Crazy. Let's bring him over here, and it's not worked out at all. So I think it's actually gotten worse. I don't know if it's the DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine curse, but things are not working out. I could go on and on about how I feel about the team when just last year it felt like everything, or the year before or last year, it was like light the beam, you know. Um, Now it's just like I even commented on one of the videos. It's like, wait, do y'all still light the beam? Is that still a thing you do? And they're like, yes, we light the beam. We just did it tonight. I was like, they don't make it known anymore. But obviously, you only do it so many times. But I don't know. I would do it every night as a post. But um,
I mean, they just lost, or no, they actually just won. Okay, I don't know if it was a home game, but
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah, we could
you got
definitely go to the
you
Kings
got
at
to
this
win.
point.
Yeah, but so okay, the standings. So,
Yeah.
you know how people were like, the Lakers beat the Rockets, what, a couple games ago now,
Mm.
and people were like, you see, the Lakers, if they can barely beat the Rockets, how are they going to do against the Thunder? You know, like who are like 14 and a half games ahead of the Rockets. Like, it's like, and then look, the Rockets beat the Thunder tonight. Now I don't know if everyone played tonight.
Oh, I looked at the stand, or I looked at the actual box score. They did.
Yes, I mean, who knows
So,
how hard they're trying at this point?
I
Maybe they're just trying to
mean,
be healthy, but it's something. It's
I
something.
mean, look, when
They're going
I'm
for 70 wins, right?
well, they can now, not with that loss.
Well, exactly, but they were.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, they had the opportunity to do that, but with this loss, it put 13 losses for the season right now. So at the most, games that they're because they only got 5 games left
Hmm.
for the Thunder. The most that they can do is 69 wins. Fun, but
Yeah.
but with that being said, that kind of brings the question into these next 2 games against the Lakers because, just to go back to your earlier question as far as the Lakers and the standings, it's crazy. Like at first it was like 2 through 8, but when you really look at it, like I think we talked about the Rockets. The Rockets like last 4 or 5 games were all against like above 500 teams. They beat the Jazz on Wednesday, and then
Hmm.
they surprised everybody today by beating the Thunder. Well, they have a game on Sunday against the Red Hot Warriors, who, as we can see, are on a 5-game win streak right now. I'm very curious to see how the Rockets and the Warriors matchup is because that might be, to be honest
Hmm.
with you, potentially a second round matchup, assuming the Warriors and the Rockets come out of their matchups for that.
Yeah.
Um, Depending on the standings, obviously. Um, but also outside of the Warriors game, now they also play a road game. So it looks like they're actually going on a West Coast road game or a road trip, I should say. They play the Warriors Sunday, then they play the Clippers Wednesday, and then they play the Lakers Friday. Then after that, they turn around, go back home to Houston, and they have the
Hmm.
finale against the Denver Nuggets. My question that I'm curious about is, for one, with seeing how the standings, how tight it is right now, you know that they're not skipping any of these games because a game or two losses could really, really hurt you.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like if they were to win the game against the Warriors and the Clippers, that just means that at the bare minimum, they're going to end the season with 29 losses. They might not even play their guys against the Lakers and the Nuggets because they're
Yeah.
going to lock that 2 seed in.
Hmm.
So I feel like the 2 seed was already gone the moment the Lakers lost that game against the Warriors. But at the same time,
It's still in
when
play.
it's still in play, right? And so because they can win every game, they could lose every game in terms of Rockets.
Yeah,
But
it
for
would
the
be very
Lakers,
cool.
yeah,
Very cool.
but for the Lakers, I mean, to be honest with you, man, I don't really know how to feel because
Lakers
it's
would have
those
to go
it's
like 5-1.
those Thunder's games. It's those Thunder games, man,
Yeah.
because those Thunder games is gonna really be the test. Like
Right.
there is no playing around. Like today, I felt like they didn't really take the Pelicans serious. They just kind of went the motions. They almost treated it like a practice, and you can kind of
Yeah.
tell that in the first quarter.
Yeah.
But they can't afford to do that against the Thunder. I feel like you need to make a statement game
No.
with
Yeah.
these Thunder games, at least the first one. Go get that first one, and then the second one, just see how it is. And if I'm the Lakers, seeing Houston beat the Thunder today, I am literally watching film all day tomorrow on that flight to Oklahoma to
Oh yeah.
see what the heck did they do. Because if we can beat a team like the Rockets and then the Rockets can find a way to beat the Thunder, there has to be some type of scheme or some type of I would have to say a schematic that they did in order to get a win like that, especially considering it was
Mm.
a full roster that the Thunder played. It wasn't like the Thunder had missed anybody like a Jalen Williams or a Chad Holmgren or like they literally played basically their whole roster and they still lost somehow. And I'm
Yeah.
curious to kind of see the highlights for that one. But I mean, yeah, look, like Alex Caruso played 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Shea Gilgeous played 35 minutes. Holmgren 31 minutes. Jalen Williams 34 minutes. Lou
Mm-hmm.
Dort 26 minutes. I mean, and they had respectable stats.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, man, I'm very curious to see how the Lakers respond against a good opponent, like the Thunder
Yeah.
this time.
It's so weird too because like thankful that the Nuggets are on a 3-game losing streak because it's been weird. We go from the 3 seed beating the Rockets to going to 3 seed, then losing against the Warriors, going back into the 4 seed, and then before our game even finished, we went back up into the 3rd seed because the Nuggets lost against the Warriors. Thank God that game was in the schedule at the end here and things played out that way because it just didn't feel like we deserved to move up.
Yeah.
But like it's so weird, you know. I mean, yeah, the Nuggets lost 3 times in a row. I saw something. By the way, do you use the Bleacher Report app?
I don't.
Did you used to?
Mm-mm.
It used to be the best app for like chats and forum and just like being able to go in there and just like have so many people on there. You know, you could see everything from posts to you'd be able to find out everything on there, injury reports, game times, just people. It's almost like a social media for like sports fans. But they just did something recently where, dude, I don't know what they were trying to do. Like, did they fire their developers or something? Or they updated the app all of a sudden and it's bad. It's bad. But I just saw something on the Warriors forum where people were commenting. They're like, um, well, Lakers should thank us. We moved him up to the 3rd seed. And then the other person was like, which I honestly was starting to get like PTSD, but I didn't even have to watch the game. But by some of the comments, they're like, all right, I'm done with the Russ experiment.
You know what's so funny, bro? From the perspective of a fan, like whether you're a Laker fan or a fan of anybody else, it's so funny how when your team is playing great, you sleep good at night, like we talked
um,
about. But when they start playing bad, it's like you have restless sleep. And I can't tell you, bro, I literally woke up this morning feeling like crap
yeah,
because of that Warriors game and
yeah,
because, we stayed up so late,
well, yeah,
making the video, just getting used to the timing and everything. But it's just funny. And it's also funny to see, like, who the real fans are because it's easy to be a bandwagon fan when things are going great. But when things aren't going good,
yeah,
it's interesting to see how the fans are very
yeah.
quick to turn on players of their own team. Like,
Mm-hmm.
look, man, we're the first people to tell the audience, whoever watches this video live right now, or even when it gets posted, the Russell Westbrook experience was a disaster. There's no
Mm-hmm.
question about it for LA.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if the roster was different, it could have worked out. We'll never know. It was terrible. But then he turns around and he has a much better, season with the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Clippers didn't want him anymore, so then he goes to Denver. To me, it's like for the most part this season, Russ has not been bad for the Denver Nuggets. In fact, he's been very impactful, but it's just because we're so late into the season, you
Mm-hmm.
would think that a lot of these players would pay more attention to detail as the season's starting to come to an end and, it's time to get into playoff postseason form.
Yeah,
But Russ, man, like I feel bad for the guy. He had a very tough, game obviously against the Timberwolves, and then he followed it up with basically not the best game against the Spurs,
mm-hmm.
who got no business winning any games right now,
They almost
and then they lost
they
that one.
almost beat they almost beat a team tonight. I want to say,
Oh, the
um,
Cleveland Cavaliers.
yeah, they almost beat the Cavs. It was Harrison Barnes, um, Kareem Hook away from winning, bounced right off of the back of the backboard, not the backboard, the back of the rim. It was that close.
Hey man, they
But hey,
often
I mean,
say it's
okay,
a
but
make or miss league, right?
yeah, true, true. Russ on the Clippers though, like things were actually going really well for Russ on the Clippers. That's the weird part is like he was like, I'm finally happy, and all this kind of stuff. And it's like it's the same fans, but they were just loving him now. And I'm just like, it's always like they loved him, but then something happened, and I guess he went to the Nuggets. But I'm surprised that the Nuggets even picked him up after seeing the Lakers, the Clippers, and then. But then again, we fell for the same thing. But then again, it was like he was on the Wizards and he was playing great. He took the Wizards from being like 0-10, or not 0-10, but like 2-10 at the beginning of the season to making it into the playoffs. So
No, I definitely hear your perspective. I mean, but you got to think of it too. Like, we're talking about Russ from roughly about 6, 7 years ago now.
yeah,
And in basketball years, man, like with all the wear and tear that these athletes are going through,
yeah,
it like first and foremost, LeBron James playing at this level at 40 years old is ridiculous. Like, I can't even I really don't know what to say or what to make of it
hmm,
other than just greatness. Like, I'm
yeah,
not even a LeBron super fan. Like, you're the guy, since I've known you, you've always been a LeBron super fan, even before he went to the Lakers. It's just once he came to the Lakers, you and I really became more like fans with each other because I've
hmm,
been a Kobe fan my whole life.
hmm,
Always will, always, always have, always will be. But um, man, like to see LeBron just do what he's doing, you got to wonder for
hmm,
real, like when he's going to retire. Because at this point in this stage, it's like you could easily see him playing another 5 years if he wanted to, but I
yeah,
don't think he wants to. Like, I think if you wanted to make a prediction, I could see him maybe retiring in probably 2 to 3 years.
yeah. I mean,
2 to 3 years.
I don't know. It all depends on how this year ends. If we get swept or something like that, maybe one more year. Next year's the last year. Because I
You
mean,
think you think if we got swept this year, he's only going to play one more season next year?
uh, yeah, because he wants to leave the league on a good note, not when he's like wore down and can't play anymore. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like it's set up for. I just feel like it's set up for us to win this year, get a big in the offseason. Obviously, if we got swept, that's not the case where I was going with. But like if we got swept, I think next year would be his last year. But I think even if we win this year, he gets his fifth championship, and the James household has actually 6 rings because Bronny would have one too. So that'd be 5 for LeBron and one.
AD would as well.
Oh yeah, that'd be crazy. I didn't even think
I
about.
wonder if he accepts that ring. I
Um,
wonder if he accepts
I
that ring.
mean, he would be known for having 2 rings, but
He
because
did
like,
contribute this
yeah,
season a lot.
he definitely contributed. But yeah. So let's just say we win this year and then get it big in the offseason and then really dominate next year. Then LeBron would have 6 rings. Does he play for a three-peat? Which would be just insane to think about because it'd feel like so quickly that we would have won 2 championships if that was the case. I just feel like next year is really the prime year for it. But I don't know, like win this year and then next year get a big and try to win. Let's just say we win 2 in a row. Does he go for a third? Got to go for the three-peat, right? But what if we win this year and then lose next year? Does that become his end? And does Bryce come into the league next year? Because he's in college right now this season.
No, he can't next year because he's about to graduate high school this year. He's going to be going to University of Arizona
Oh yeah,
next year, so it's going to be 2 years. So I was
right.
going to say everything that you said definitely shows you're a LeBron fan because you're talking rings in a way where it's like as if it's easy. It's really not. Just from
It's
I'll,
not.
I'll give it to you this way. The reason why I think 2 to 3 years is because for one, this year was such a it's kind of like a gimme year, right? Like if the
Mhm.
Lakers go far, awesome. But if the Lakers don't really go far, it's not terrible considering the fact that we had literally just made the biggest trade not only in basketball history but probably sports
Mhm.
history arguably, and
Yeah.
we did it without filling out the rest of the roster. We have clearly no consistent rim protection and consistent rebounding, which are the two things that we're lacking at. We have not the best perimeter defense consistently because of the fact that we have Luka Doncic, who is amazing offensively, but
Mhm.
gets burnt way too many times defensively. And then you have
Yeah.
Austin Reeves, who has really showed up and showed out, definitely improved. He's my personal most improved player, but we'll talk about that another time of the year candidate this year. But defensively, he still has his moments as well. And again, like there's too many mysteries going on with our roster this year that I easily could be, if I'm LeBron, I'm thinking, okay, well, now we have the face of the franchise who's going to basically just took the keys from me, right? Like I gave it to him, he took it, okay? Now you go into the offseason. If Rob Pelinka, who, I don't really, I want to say we can trust him, but outside of the Luka trade, what has he really done? We
Mhm.
don't really know, but I'd love to see how Rob Pelinka is going to really treat this offseason in terms of, you know, who he's going to be adding to the team. And I also am curious to see what LeBron's going to do in terms of his contract because he always is known for doing those one and ones where he signs a 1 year and then the following year he's a free agent just to kind of move the money around. But I'm also curious to see what he does in terms of his pay cut because this past offseason he was willing to take a pay cut for like 3 different players. We struck out and got none of them. He wanted James Harden, he wanted Klay Thompson, and then he wanted Jonas Valanciunas. We got none of them, right? And
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, hindsight, because none of those players I felt like would have really impacted this team. Arguably, unless we're talking Valanciunas, because we definitely could use his size at least. Since we just tried to get that with Alex Lynn, who I don't even know if he's on the team. Did he get cut? I don't know. I hope
Yeah.
so at this
Yeah.
point.
Wait. Yeah.
But I haven't
Yeah.
seen him
No.
on the bench
Cam,
lately. So,
Cam Reddish, he got cut, but I don't
I know
remember.
he did. I just didn't see any news about Alex Lynn. It's almost like they just
Yeah.
forgot about him, and he's just
They're
like a
like, bro, don't even come.
He's like, bro, don't even come back, man. After
we'll,
this road
we'll
trip, just stay wherever your home is, okay?
we'll pay you.
But
Just stay.
yeah, but no, like for LeBron, like I could see easily 2-3 years because let's just
Yeah.
say this season's a wash. Next season is going to be the first full year building that chemistry with Luka, with the
Yeah.
rest of the team, right? You get a big, see how that looks. And I think that next year is really the prime year to need to win a championship because LeBron is going to be 41 in
Mm,
year 23.
mm,
And yes, he has defeated Father Time up to this point, but you don't want to keep relying too much on him. You need to start filling those roles and those positions that even he's taking right now, so that LeBron is more of a complementary piece instead of a dependent piece like he is right now. He's been a dependent piece his whole career. In order for us to really maximize the roster, we need to make LeBron, if we're gonna have a big three, he needs to be the three. He can't be the one, he can't be the two, he has to be the three. And in
yeah.
terms of defensively, we need to fill the roster up in a way to where we have solid defensive minded players that are coming in knowing their role, right?
Mhm.
And they're
Yeah.
doing their job. But we also need two-dimensional 3 and D players. We can't just have one-dimensional D players or 3 players like we do right now, with Vando just being a D player, and then with Connect being just a 3 player. Like we
Yeah.
need balance, and I feel like if
Yeah.
we get that balance next year, that's a realistic conversation about being a contender. Personally, I just don't really. I know that like all these other sports shows and all these other Laker channels are very optimistic this year about the Lakers going far and making a finals run. But I mean, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm just trying to be realistic. I would be surprised if we did. I could see us at the best case scenario making the Western Conference Finals, but I could also see us, depending on matchups, losing in the first round. And that's just the reality with this roster because, again, it's just not complete.
Yeah. Um, conspiracy theory. Uh, the league, the league stopped the Mo Williams trade. They're
Mo,
like the I think that's his name or something. The center from the Hornets.
oh, wait, it's not Rob Williams. This is embarrassing. Mark Williams.
Mark Williams. Yeah, yeah,
There we
yeah.
go.
Hey,
Yep.
my bad. I don't know
The
Mark
the the the
Williams.
late the Laker for like 24, 48 hours. You talking about
Yeah,
him?
yeah.
Yeah, the one that wanted to have a revenge game. It was basically his
Oh
finals when he
yeah.
played us. Yeah,
Hmm.
that guy. Yeah,
That
okay.
was the game that the freaking Hornets beat us.
Yeah, yeah. And then what
Oh,
happened to him after
which
that
by the
game?
way, oh my God, can we just watch that? I gotta end it with this. Hold on. Um, do you remember what happened in that game?
I remember we lost by like 3, and it was a very low scoring game.
Um, do you remember this though? Uh,
Oh my gosh, this guy. Here comes the what do they call you? The LeBron stan?
The LeBron sexual.
Oh, yeah. Yes. As we're watching this ad. Hopefully we can see that. We talking about the three? Are you sure you're
No,
talking about the
the
three? Are we talking
that
oh,
one.
are we talking about that?
Yeah, the dunk. Let's
Oh
see.
yeah.
He's like, oh man, we're talking about Lakers legend Mark Williams right now.
Man.
Anyways, oh man, yeah, but it was that was it for me. That was like, you know what, LeBron, man, he'd dunk on anybody. He'd dunk on anybody. But I had to show that really quick because Mark Williams, man, isn't it weird though? Isn't it weird that he be playing all the games on the Hornets right now? So what's
I mean,
the physical thing? Like there might be a problem with him having an injury of some sort. I think it was with his back or his legs. But do you think Rob Palinka
Mark
just
oh.
no, yeah, Rob Palinka? Do you think he just got cold feet? He's like, you know what? He heard from other people. He's like, dude, you gave up Dalton Connect, who you were so praising to get that in the draft, and you gave up a first. Do you think it was cold feet, or do you think, a conspiracy theory? The league stopped it, and it's no coincidence that the league used to own the Hornets back then, which is also where the Chris Paul trade got vetoed to the Lakers
Yeah.
because the Hornets had Chris Paul, and
Wrong
uh,
organization though.
the NBA
Trust.
owned the Hornets at that time. So it was just like,
Hold on. Just for fact checking, that's New Orleans, not Charlotte. Because remember, New Orleans used to be the New Orleans Hornets.
okay,
So it was
that's crazy.
so it was the Charlotte
That's
Hornets, and
crazy.
then they became the Charlotte Bobcats.
Oh, yeah, I
When they
do
were the
remember that.
Charlotte Bobcats, the New Orleans team took over the name the New Orleans Hornets, and then Charlotte got the rights back to the Hornets, and then when they took the Hornets back, they did like a poll, I believe, for New Orleans, and then they became the Pelicans. I still don't know why, but I remember like it was yesterday because I was like, the heck is a Pelican? Like, I'm just, like, I was like, what? Of
Uh,
all the team names you could choose, why a Pelican? Like, I don't know, but I will
that's
say
funny.
this: I think that Rob intended on getting Mark,
Mm-hmm.
but I also think that whatever they saw wasn't a good enough reason for them to feel comfortable proceeding with that trade. Not
Yeah.
just because of the Dalton part being attached to it, but you got to look at the draft picks, man. We were giving up, I think, a 2031 draft pick and
Mm-hmm.
a 29 like pick swap or something like that. That's a lot to give up for a center that
Yeah.
is very young, has already had a history in the league in his very early career of having injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't, I mean, yes, there's potential, but we've already seen this story before. Remember when we got Andrew Bynum? Or actually, I don't know if you remember that because you were a Laker fan by then. But I remember
Yeah.
like it was yesterday as a Laker fan. Andrew Bynum was a dog. He was a beast. But we also knew that his years were numbered, man. He's like the opposite of LeBron. He came into the league with all these issues with his knees, man. But when you could get the max out of him, it won us championships.
Yeah.
But once we got the max out of him, he retired very young for a reason because he came into the league with these problems. And we're starting to see a little bit of that with Mark too, because just like we talked about, when Mark played against the Lakers, what happened after that? He was benched again. He went MIA. He literally did not play a game, I think, for like 3, 4, maybe 5 games later. And then
Mm-hmm.
he made an appearance, and then he was benched again. And
Yeah.
then the funny thing about all this, too, is the Hornets organization put out a statement, if you remember, where they were trying to like cover themselves, seeing that the Lakers basically canceled everything. They were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, the
I was
Lakers had approached us about this trade. We
exactly.
didn't
I
know,
was
right?
just about to mention that. I was literally gonna tell you that as soon as you went to the Andrew Bynum thing. I was like, no, I'm gonna bring this back because that whole thing was weird, and I just felt like it was because like it was awkward when Dalton Connect got back to the Lakers. Like he had this like feeling of like, dang, I'm a rookie and I got traded. Like it was just a weird feeling of Dalton. He had to get back in the rhythm. He looked pissed when he came back to the Lakers. Like he was just like not vibing. It was weird. And then but the thing is like, bro, at the end of the day, it's like you're a rookie. It's a business thing. You got to understand that. And also the fact you're on the Lakers, like playing with LeBron and Luka, you might have a chip this year as a rookie. Like, come on, get over it. You know what I'm saying? But the whole Mark Williams thing was different though, because like he was actually their center, like a contributor. So they were like backtracking and saying like, oh yeah, no, the Lakers approached us. Then continue on. You probably know it better than I do, but
Yeah, no, I mean, just to piggyback off what you said, I mean, everything's right. Um, the interesting thing that I think we're seeing is the Hornets really what they're trying to do is they're trying to save face with the other owners of the other teams, not named the Lakers, because it's very clear they're trying to shop Mark this offseason. He's got an extension coming up, and they clearly don't want to pay it, right? Which is kind of weird because it's like this is a first round draft pick you guys picked up like a few years ago. Typically, you want to pay your first round draft picks. So if you don't want to pay your first round draft pick, and you're this quick and this easy to just trade him away, but then when the trade didn't go through and you come back, you want to make excuses and try to put the blame on the Lakers, and then come to find out, secretly you're still shopping him around. You're just trying to up his
his
stock
value,
basically so you can
yeah,
get better
exactly.
value out of the trade. That's
Yeah.
really all that was happening. And so to me it was just kind of weird, but you know, we'll end on this real quick. Because it's supposed to be a shorter video, just kind of talking, Lakers Pelicans, but like I said, work in progress. But what I will say is the Dalton thing, couple things I want to talk about, just to piggyback on what you said. 100%. When he came back from basically being traded and then the trade not going through, you could even look from the bench perspective, he just seemed off. He didn't seem engaged. He seemed like he was still honestly in Charlotte. Like he hadn't actually mentally made and checked back in to LA until I think he had a couple practices. He probably had a private conversation with JJ, as well as the organization about what happened. You'd have to imagine. And now, fast forward to right now, April 4th, this game we just saw against the Pelicans, he was literally our best bench player. He had 12
Dude,
points off the bench,
yeah.
and you could even see moments with him and LeBron just smiling, having a laugh, building that confidence. And that goes into the last thing I want to finish this up with that I want to hear your opinion on. What is it going to take, in your opinion, for Don't Connect to earn the trust from JJ to get some consistent minutes? Because our bench is too inconsistent when it comes to scoring, but our bench does a great job for the most part coming in when it comes to defending. We can't just keep relying on, okay, so when LeBron is out, we'll have Luka and Austin in, and those two are going to be our scorers. Or when LeBron and Luka's out, Austin's going to be our sole scorer, and then everybody else that's around, he'll
Yeah.
try to play make for him. We need an extra bench player that can come in and just do exactly what Dalton does and give us consistent buckets.
It is Dalton the fifth most consistent scorer on the team. Like if
From the bench or just in general?
just in general, like who can actually put up some points.
I mean, if we're talking scoring value, to be honest with you, I can't say he's the fifth, but I can say in terms of the bench, he easily could be like the second best scorer from the bench.
Yeah, hundred
I will
percent.
say that. The only reason why I can't say fifth overall is because, again, you got to think Luka. You got to think the starters. The starters are always going to get the bulk of the shots. That's just typically how it goes in a game of the flow,
Yeah,
especially with the LeBron James led team. Even though he's not, you know, the lead, he's still the leader of the team. They've already made that clear. And then you
yeah,
got Luka, who just shoots and shoots and shoots. Like he's literally like Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James all in one in some ways.
yeah,
Like some games he's chucking it up like Kobe. Other games he's diving in and passing it up like LeBron.
Yeah.
And then other games he's a killer like Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Like he literally has that much potential.
He
It's
scored
only
37 points in one of those games.
huh?
And Dalton Connect scored 37 points in one of those games.
Early in the season though, when there
Yeah.
wasn't much scouting report on him.
Yeah. But let me answer
Since
your
then,
Yeah, that's true. Let me answer your question to finish this off, and then we can get to watching. I gotta watch some other stuff tonight still. Maybe I feel good about it. But once I go to bed, I'll put an earpod in.
oh yeah.
But what do I think Dalton Connect's got to do to get some consistent minutes? Maybe it's all off the court stuff. It's got to be off the court stuff.
What do you mean?
Well, I feel like some of it is a lack of maturity in some areas. So I feel like part of it is off the court stuff. Part of it is the defense. He doesn't have the defense that I think JJ Redick is looking for, and I think Dalton Connect goes up and down way too often with his shots not going in. His defense is, his defense is already not that good when he's scoring. When you're not scoring, everyone's defense seems to kind of dip. So I feel like it's just not on par with what he wants. Plus, you got to respect the other people who's veterans on the team. You can't give Dalton Connect more minutes than Gabe Vincent, because in playoffs, I think Gabe Vincent is more battle tested and proven from Miami, and has shown that Gabe Vincent is more valuable than Dalton Connect more consistently throughout the season. But it's hard to say. Definitely gonna be watching that a little bit more. But I gotta get to spending some time with my boo thing tonight. So I'm gonna end this on a note. I appreciate everyone for watching and supporting us. And Russ and Vince out. Anything you wanted to say to the fans, or just something you want to end the video on?
Yeah, man. So, obviously this is something new we're doing. We're going to keep working at it, keep fine tuning some things. But one thing that we definitely always appreciate is the support. So if you're still here almost an hour long into this video, we definitely appreciate you tuning in. Definitely love any feedback, man. Like you guys got my number for the most part if you're watching. I know I got a lot of friends and family supporting, so definitely appreciate it. Let us know how you feel in the comment section below. If you happen to like the content that we're, dishing out as we continue to evolve this channel, feel free to, subscribe below and share, amongst your friends and your family, especially if they're Laker fans or if they're just fans of the NBA. Eventually, we're going to expand the channel and start doing some other things. But for now, we are going to kind of more focus it on the Lakers since the season's starting to come to an end for a little bit. We'll probably do more, outside the Lakers stuff once the Lakers, either win the championship or they're out of the playoffs. So, but other than that, man, appreciate, the time with you, Russ. It's always nice to talk Lakers, talk basketball as we're, starting this journey. And for all the people, like I said, man, that are watching the video, we definitely appreciate your support.
Yes, sir. We'll definitely be able to do a lot more stuff. More structured, more just getting really into the nitty gritty of how the game plays out. So I think there's just going to be a lot more, that, and then also a lot more, outside the NBA kind of stuff. Like, there's just so much more life stuff that, I want to be able to talk and give value to just anybody who wants to watch. But yeah, Vince, always a good time having you on here. Really the beginning of something great. So appreciate you. Lakers win tonight. Let's go.
Let's go.